Okay, hi Tolu. This is the activity for content from Unit 2. And I'm just going to go through a couple of things here, and it will answer some of the questions that you asked me about, and I may have to make you more than one video to answer the other ones. First of all, I'm going to scroll down to example 5, and you can find this by going back to the Google Calendar from October where we did U2A4. So let me just scroll down, and I'm going to go to the example 5. Here it is. And I chose example 5 because this is a frequency table for the test scores. There's a number of students who got each of these test scores, so this is a lot like the test question that you did for the Unit 2 test. So the first thing that we're going to do when we're trying to find a percentile of any type, and quartiles and medians are just a specific percentile, is we're going to find the number of pieces of data. So in this case, if you add up the number of students, 3 plus 17 plus 24 plus 45 and so on, that adds up to 120. We're going to take that plus 1 over 100, so that's this part. So your data, your pieces of data is going to be 121 over 100. And all you're going to do is you're going to multiply that by x, which is the percentile you're trying to find. So if you're trying to do a median, the median is the percentile 50. It's the 50th percentile. So you would put 50 in there. Now, the number that they get is 60.5, and that's not the median. What that is it's telling you that you have to count up this chart until you get to 60 people, or 60 students. So far we would have 3 plus 17 is 20, plus 24 is 44. So the 60th person is going to fall in this group here. So now we know that the 50th percentile, or the median score, is in this group, and we can look at that test score, which is 7, right? Now, in this case, because both the 60th and the 61st piece of data are both going to be in that group, then we don't have to find anything other than just the test score is 7 for the percentile, okay? Now, Q1 and Q3, they work the same way, and this is how we find the interquartile range. For Q1, you want to find P25, that's the 25th percentile. And for Q3, you want to find P75, the 75th percentile. So you're going to do exactly the same things that we did over here, only you're going to replace the 50 with 25 for Q1 or 75 for Q3. Once you've found those values, the interquartile range is simply just Q3 minus Q1. Okay, that's how you find it. So when you're using a frequency table, that's how you do it. So now if we're talking about standard deviation, which I think was the other thing that you asked about, the standard deviation, I'm going to take you back to example 3 in the same lesson because it's showing you how to find the mean from a grouped data, from a frequency table data. So if you follow the instructions here and you find the mean, then the next step is often to find the standard deviation. The standard deviation is just measuring how far from the mean each of the data pieces was. And because some are above the mean and some are below the mean, we square the differences so that we don't have any negatives, and then later on we take those differences out. If you visit Unit 2, Activity 7 in the content, and I think that's from Wednesday, October 19th, then there's an excellent lesson there that takes you through all the steps of finding the deviation from the mean and using that to find the standard deviation. So here it is, and all of the formulas are laid out, and then there's an example. Oops. So here's an example showing you how you calculate the standard deviation. Okay, so the variance is here, and the variance squared, the standard deviation is the square root of the variance. And so if you read through this lesson and follow through the examples that they're giving you, like this one here, example 3, then that should help you to find the standard deviation, okay? And when you're doing it for a table, frequency table, I've just scrolled down here to example 5 for you to show you an example where they do it with a frequency table, and that again is more similar to the question that we answered on the test. So if you want to read through that, and then they actually also provide the answer and they write it all out for you, then I think that will help you figure out the standard deviation. Okay, so please email me if you're still having questions, but that's as simple as it is for those things that you emailed me about.